The pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second. Any additions or corrections? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Move approval of the minutes from October 28th.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Claims were sent out in advance. Anybody have any questions or concerns?
I'd move to approve claims, authorize auditor to issue checks.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. We have a quick turnaround personnel. We are rehiring Kayla Biggerstaff at CBS, and we're hiring Dominic Griffin at CBS. Looks like those are the only two.
Move approval of the personal additions.
Second.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that motion carries. Shelley alerted me that Janet Rickenberg's term on the Civil Service Commission it expired the middle of October. I got a hold of Sheriff Pickett. He reached out to her and she said she chose not to be reappointed this time in her life. Sheriff Pickett asked if I knew of anybody that might be interested. We had a brief conversation and came up with Jan Heineman as a possible person to fill that role. One of the things the Civil Service Commission has to do is present itself and be part of the hiring process. In fact, to my recollection, that's the only thing that they've ever had here. We, to my knowledge, have never had a hiring or firing freeze or anything like that question, which would be a part of their duties as well. In my opinion, Jan would be excellent at a role like that because there is some note-taking and things to be done on testing day, and Jan is superb at that. So Pickett did reach out to her, and she said she would be honored to be asked, and if appointed, she'd be honored to serve. So it's his recommendation, and mine as well, that we would appoint Jan to that position.
I'd move to support the sheriff's position. Appoint Jan Heideman to Civil Service Commission.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. I don't know if you got all of her, if he sent you all of her contact information. Okay, it's there, you can just toss it down.
And then while we're on that, Dave Lehman, you want to just, does Shelley know?
Yeah, I think we'll do it the same way we did with Kip and let his term continue on until the end of the year, and then we'll choose to either reappoint or, because he's still technically on there, just because he retired doesn't take it. So,
And I think he's willing to continue.
yeah, and I think he would be a great person to be on there, and maybe Nick would continue or want to be his alternate on there when that time comes.
Yeah, right now Kip is our signee, our chair, or regular. David is the alternate.
Right, but we could have Nick be the secondary alternate, or just to get his feet wet in that also. If, I guess what my point is that then he would be start to get all the communication, because there is a lot of communication that comes from that group. I used to be the county's rep on that, and you get like lots of emails and study information.
Okay.
So,
But that means like Kip would fall, I mean, if David wanted to continue, you only have two, so Kip is the regular.
I don't know that you're limited to one alternate. you're limited to a rep, and then I think you can have any number of alternates. We'll have to clarify
Yeah,
that.
when I look at the list, that only one alternate for each.
Okay, we'll clarify it before.
And I didn't know
January.
if David was on it because of his position here, or if he was just on it as a citizen. I didn't know if it even had anything to do with his job here.
He was on it in part because of his job here and because of his relationship here.
Great, so you'll reach back out to him to say, yeah.
Proclamation supporting green light operation.
And we did this before, this is not the first year, is that correct?
Correct. And I believe that Scott has the green light still.
He has the exterior ones, we have interior ones. I wasn't sure if we've actually done a proclamation before. We've done the green lights before, I don't know if we've actually done a proclamation, I didn't know that. I don't think so.
I was thinking
We did last year, I believe. I think we have the last 2 years.
I'd have to look at it.
I believe Dan came over last year actually for the proclamation.
Well, I think proclamations are supposed to be read. I'll go ahead and read the proclamation if someone wants to make a motion afterwards. Supporting Operation Green Light for veterans. Whereas the residents of Bremer County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Bremer County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members across access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future, and whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life, and whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service, and whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Green Light for veterans, and whereas the Bremer County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted, therefore be it resolved with designation as a green light for veterans, Bremer County hereby declares from November 4th, 2025 through Veterans Day, November 30th, 2025, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Green Light, Bremer County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying green lights in a window of their place of business or residence from November 4th through November 30th, 2025.
Move approval.
Second?
Moved by Bob, second by Corey to approve the proclamation just read. Any discussion? All,
Yes, are we going to the 30th or the 11th of November?
we're going to the 30th, it was just approved.
You didn't, you voted, but you. I mean, you
Yeah,
didn't
it's
vote
just
yet.
discussion. Do you want to go to the 30th or do you want to
That's,
amend?
the NACO notice about it was just through the 11th. It's traditionally just been the 7 days through Veterans Day. So I don't,
You want to amend to go through the 11th?
Yeah, I'd amend the last say through November 11th.
Are you okay with that?
I'll accept that.
Bob amended his motion. Corey is approval of that amendment. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All, chair votes aye. All approval of the motion itself, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Shelley, for pointing that out. Pledging funds to ISAC. Corey, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I'll take this. So last Wednesday, we had a statewide webinar, Andrea ISAC led, to discuss the amicus brief that ISAC has taken initiative to put together to support the Shelby and Story County petition for Supreme Court hearing on their local zoning ordinance battle over the setbacks and whatnot with the pipeline project currently. Well attended. We had, I believe, 112 attendees, not including the contributors. At one point during the webinar, had 150 plus registered for it. I know several went back and watched. It's posted now if you missed it. It is on the ISAC website. You can go back and watch it. A good discussion, great questions. Tim Whipple explained it very well, what this means, beyond pipelines, that this walks into other local control issues besides just this current project in front of us. So I watched quite a few counties yesterday as they had their board meetings that had this on the agenda. Pretty good support across the country, across the state for this initiative at the requested $500 level. So it's good to see more buy-in outside of the few directly affected counties with this, and that counties are stepping up to see the big picture here. What this is for local control. So I would recommend that we would engage and pledge to contribute to it as well.
At the $500 or what one?
They would accept higher. There's unspent monies in this. It goes into a contingency fund for projects like this in the future. I know there's still some unfunded portion of the soil compaction study that started back in 2022. As a result of the pipeline projects being proposed and worried about damage to ag lands and restoration process. So that was something that we had participated in back then on the initial level. I don't remember what the cost was on that, but there was a phase 2 that hasn't been completely paid for. So there's other uses for this money, and there could be some additional costs if the case is heard. For some other supporting information. I know Tim had told us that a few weeks ago on one of our phone calls, that there could be some additional costs later. So even if this is supported beyond the initial $25,000 that ISAC needs to cover the brief, it'll go to supporting causes.
I would recommend that we do the $500 requested contribution at this point. If they need additional funding at a later time, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to reach back out to us and make that request. I just don't want to be sending money that isn't totally accounted for
I agree with
in
that.
advance, so I'd recommend that the motion be $500. Is there a motion?
I don't have it on as a motion because it'll be approved through claims. I just need direction on what to put into the claims.
Thank you. Is there
A motion to put I'd move the $500 put in a claim for the pipeline lawsuit.
So that's the direction. I'll put it on for next week in the claims.
okay, so
And it's a donation, I don't know, is that,
So the introduction to the brief will state, the brief is coming from ISAC. So ISAC represents all 99 counties. So it will show unified support across the state. What they're asking for is for counties to contribute to make this initiative whole. I know there's a few counties that are taking the road of just tagging along and not contributing. Me feeling that they're going to be represented. I think that's unfortunate when it comes to local control issues, that not stepping up. But the way the introduction is put together, it doesn't say just these counties that have contributed. ISAC as a whole is how it's represented.
okay.
So as Cassandra pointed out, it's not technically on as an action item, it's just on as a discuss item, so we can either just let Bob's motion die for today, or,
I'll withdraw it.
thank you, if you want to just withdraw it.
Withdraw it, just make sure that, yeah.
Perfect,
I'll
and,
put it on for
Understood.
claims, you'll have it next Tuesday as your
Okay.
claim listing.
Alright.
okay,
And I don't think it has to be until the 21st, I believe was the date. So,
okay, Scott, you're up.
Here is one of the last change orders that I got sent over this morning. I will call Patrick real quick.
Good morning.
Morning, Patrick. You're on here in the boardroom to discuss these change orders.
Sounds good. Alright, so I'm just gonna go down the line here. The first one should be PCI 0015. And that is just returning the unused allowance from the earthwork contract, and also the dollars for the bollards that were originally scheduled to be installed around the generator, but obviously with us looking at that fencing in phase 2, just getting that dollars back. So all said and done, that is $16,000, 432 going back to the project contingency, which overall will go back to you.
No questions?
You want to take a motion on it individually, so I think it's probably the proper thing to do them individually. Is there a motion to accept change order?
Yeah, approve change order PCI 0015.
second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. On to the next one.
Alrighty, next one is PCI 0016, very similar. This is just the electrical allowance give back from that contract, which is that 281976.
Approval PCI 0016.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. 17.
PCI 17, this was a little work for repairing that one spot in the vestibule that showed up after completion and leveling. So just pretty much paying 2 guys interior for that work, coming out of project contingency of $353.92.
And Scott, we shouldn't have any more issues there, or is this,
That remains to be seen. I guess that's where the concrete settled and they came back in and re-leveled put self-leveler underneath the carpet, so.
so
That-
That isn't a warranty issue, this is,
That was my question, and Patrick and I talked a little bit about that yesterday, and I think I'd asked him to explain that to you guys, why that wouldn't be a warranty issue.
Which warranty would cover that, Patrick?
The project warranty, I mean, it all trickles down to everyone. However, looking back at those pictures during installation, they leveled, obviously they did their check and leveled all areas that needed to be. I can grab those pictures and send them off as well of where they were. And then this obviously exposed itself after what, probably 2.5 months.
Yeah, probably.
But I would think there'd be a year warranty on this stuff.
Is the settling done?
We won't
And
know.
did the settling
Yeah.
occur after?
It appeared to me that
Flooring
it
was
occurred
done?
after the flooring was done. yes.
After, yeah.
So that was my question then. Clearly, it wouldn't be the warranty from the carpet people, it'd be the warranty from contractor who did that floor system. And who would that have been?
Myron.
Myron. Patrick, how do you feel about eating $363.92?
I'll eat it for you.
What do we believe the cause of the settling was, Patrick?
I honestly don't know because it was just that one spot. However, that one spot is where pretty much your first step going into that vestibule from the outside is.
What is the sub base for that then? When it,
There isn't a sub base. They poured on top of the
Gravel.
the steps
The
that were there.
geofoam, yeah.
It used to be that terrazzo when you came in. They poured on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
But they fill it in with gravel first.
No, a foam.
Sheet foam, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Stacked
Yeah,
sheet foam.
yeah, structural foam.
this is getting complicated, so did the terrazzo settle?
The terrazzo's been there,
So it was the foam that settled?
obviously. Yeah.
But the question, I mean, it's still a valid question, are we gonna continue to see settling there?
That only time will tell on that.
So we just started the warranty period with substantial completion, was it last week or the week before?
Last week.
So we've got a 1-year warranty period there?
Yep.
I would recommend that you come back or you check it before the one, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, yep.
Months and
Mhm.
say that it's good or bad.
So what do we do for two guys to get paid? Do we reject this and have Myron?
I think that'd be probably a motion to reject.
Yep.
and direct Myron to compensate two guys in 2 years.
Is that a motion?
I will make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob to reject change order 0017, and send back to Myron for proper compensation. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Okay, Patrick, I did give them, or everyone's got a copy of the one that got sent over this morning for the driveway.
Okay, perfect. And then this is just the additional driveway that we've been discussing the last couple weeks, and then changing that graph out with landscaping rock. You can see the two different contracts associated with that, a little under 13,000, and their backup is attached. You can see Wells deducted the grass seed and for that area, and then has the river rock back in. So, and then that would be coming out of obviously the project contingency.
So,
Um,
so the retaining wall will be block, it won't be a port.
No, that will be a concrete.
It'll be very similar to what was there, just a poured wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's that 2x8
Yes.
curved wall, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So that's in the Baker earthwork?
Yeah, if you flipped up to the back side of that page.
Yeah.
Might say so.
Okay, I'm sorry.
How did it happen that it got torn out where it wasn't supposed to be torn out?
It was originally called out to be torn out in phase one. And when we first talked about that we talked about that back in January, February. And it just, over time, it got lost.
But, I mean, I understand, but this will be better anyway. It'll give us more room, and it hides the trash can, so. It'll look nice.
And in turn, this would remove the trash enclosure from phase two as well.
Is there going to be any, I know with that driveway coming out in phase two, are we going to have any grade match issues there, or will matching the existing driveway work for phase two?
Yes, we would match existing.
And then we can blend that to the new driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Move to approve PCI 0019.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
And then just kind of wrapping up cost items. I'm waiting on one invoice. They'll get charged to the general requirement items, and then I'm going to reconcile that dollar amount, and there'll be an additional $7,500 to $8,000 coming back. So when I add up all of the credits back and then take away this 12,000, you'll still be seeing somewhere around $15,500 to $16,000 coming back. So.
Okay, any other questions?
Have you heard anything about the regulator for the generator?
Yes, Friday and yesterday I've been talking with the plumber and 3E. We're checking on to see if we can't increase the inlet pressure to that generator from 7 inches to 9 inches. And then that should take care of it. Otherwise, we'll change out that spring. The orifice is already oversized. We've been in contact also with the regulator manufacturer. So just waiting to hear back from 3E on that. That was the last discussion yesterday afternoon.
Background, Thursday when we started the generator up, it wouldn't run at full capacity because it wasn't getting enough gas. So they couldn't do all their tests. They did some of them. It ran the building for 90 minutes, but since the building wasn't calling for a lot of electrical, it was only operating at like half capacity. So
Yeah.
So what you found out is more internal. But originally, I was wondering if it was a gas company issue, but it's not a
it
gas.
sounds like it's the regulator that got installed.
Yeah, and it sounds like talking with 3E happened quite a bit, where it's kind of like that initial and high load, just for some reason that the gas is a little bit more than what their specifications call for some unknown reason. So, but that was double, triple check, against their submittal, that regulator was sized per, 2,700 CFH at that, pressure, so.
So will that be another change order coming, or what's?
No, no,
You'll just fix it on
No.
your side and.
yes, yeah, correct.
And then Scott will schedule another test by 3E.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else for Patrick?
I don't think anything else for Patrick, nope.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick.
All right, thank you guys. Bye.
Okay, Scott, we have this
Yep,
preventative maintenance agreement.
this is from 3E, who is, manufacturer representative, and one of the services they provide is preventive maintenance agreement for the generator. I did talk to John Elsmiller about this, and he recommended for the first year we go with the manufacturer warranty. Just, they do offer a preventive maintenance agreement, but for the first year, he thought it would be wise to go with the manufacturer to make
Because
sure.
of the potential.
Yes, yep.
Just like that.
Yeah.
We were just talking about.
Yep, so that's the 1,700 a year, and then when we were talking to the guy that was starting it up, he did mention that they have a monitoring system that can send texts or emails when it runs, when it fails to start, because it has a weekly test cycle that it goes through, that it would then send you whether it was successful or if there was a problem. And that is the other one here for it's $1,750 for the initial, and then $365 a year.
Hey, what do we do at the sheriff's department? Are we doing the same thing at the sheriff's department? I don't.
We didn't have a maintenance agreement initially, years ago, and the sheriff, it was me, would go out and physically run the equipment. At that time, we just had the one at the Larrabee Center as part of the 911 system, and it got to be too much, so they do now have a maintenance agreement with a group out of Cedar Rapids, I
Okay.
believe. That comes up, so yeah, we have a maintenance agreement for that one and the one over here at the law center now.
Would you have monitoring?
We do, to my knowledge, there is no monitoring system on either one of them. I could be wrong, I've not ever heard of Dan talking about a monitoring system.
We do have money in the maintenance budget to cover this, so,
That was my next question, is how are we gonna pay for, maybe budget for next year, but
yeah,
covering the first year?
I think we can cover it.
The advantage of the monitoring system would be you would know right
Yes,
away,
yep.
rather than finding out hours or days later
Yep.
that something failed
Mm-hmm.
when it was too late, so.
Your recommendation is to accept this?
Yep.
I'd move to approve the customer preventive maintenance agreement by Electrical Engineering Equipment Company for maintenance on a standby generator.
That's the preventive maintenance agreement for $1,700. Any further discussion on that motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Now is there a motion relative to the tracking monitoring system?
Yeah, I would move to approve the install equipment installed by 3U Tech and annual monitor access fee, a total $2,115.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We need to sign anything on these, right?
I think the
I don't see anything.
one right there.
Okay.
Right.
I can go talk about the Sidwell one now. This would be, Esri is the software we've used for years here for GIS, Arc Desktop, Arc Map. They are moving away from it. They're no longer going to offer support. Its end of life is in March. So this would be, we put in a capital project for this. This would be to move to ArcGIS Online, so the pro version. And they came in surprisingly exactly what they gave us back in December for the capital project at the 23,421. So
Any issues migrating over for us, software or internal hardware wise?
no,
What, just for the benefit of our citizens, how does this benefit people?
this would allow us to keep using, using the GIS system if, once they end of life our map, if you have any support issues or bugs or if it stops working, they're not going to offer support for it, updates or fixes or anything like that. Very similar to when Windows just did away with Windows 10 and, kind of forced everyone to Windows 11, so.
And this is an annual agreement then?
No, this is a one-time, and then there
One-time.
there is a software maintenance fee that we have been paying for. It'll be
There
the
is an
same.
annual agreement with them though,
Yes,
correct?
yep.
Do you know right offhand how much that is?
We have two. There's one with Esri that's like 2,700, and then there's one with Sidwell that's like 5.
Okay.
And those aren't going up drastically? as
No,
the-
nope.
I'd move to authorize board chair to sign contract with Sidwell.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Scott. Nate?
Morning. I think you had some questions regarding the phone
Voice
and
messaging system. We, I guess, are having some issues or had some issues over at the VA where things weren't rolling or the roll wasn't being caught or something. So just want to make sure that we're not dropping the ball.
Right.
It's,
so there was a piece of that was missed. General assistance basically got what would have been Doreen's and Jan's extensions. When we ported the landfill into our system, we moved those physical phones, which were reprogrammed, so they weren't receiving that. There was a piece missed by myself and SCI in there called an auto attendant, which basically is the intermediary between voicemail and the end user. Once we moved the phones out there, there's still a voicemail box for those two individuals, but there was no access to it unless you would have dialed into that number the long way. When I was made aware of it, we got rid of that right away. So should be good.
does their voicemail, like ours, send their voicemail to their email also, or?
So that was an option when Gordon Flesh initially set that up. So that was down to even the end user, if their extension voicemail would be sent to their emails, and we can change that at any time. And since then, we no longer use Gordon Flesh. It's SCI basically took over our service contract.
Do you gentlemen utilize that for your
I don't.
voicemail?
I don't.
If you would like it, we can.
I do, and I find it to be awesome. It's
If you
Yeah.
will, I'll change that if you'll walk me through it.
I just do it up on the system, so I can do that.
I know at work it's a default,
Okay.
so, why wouldn't people want it?
The complexity of the auto attendants, because we've got so many extensions, I think at one point in time, and then that ultimately came down to the elected official and department head during setup. So we're kind of just modifying a template that was done from Gordon Flesh when they met with everybody when we first got this phone system. It might be something, if you like, we can look at doing a blanket change, so it automatically does that. Depending on, you know.
I would be an advocate for the automatic change, and I think that there's nothing probably that is more frustrating to citizens that when they call in and get a voice system and then don't hear back for hours, days, weeks on end because of a either system or a person not checking their email or voicemail. In my case, I don't come in here every day. I don't drive over here 30 miles just to check my voicemail. So when however you did that, started that, I'm able now to call people back within minutes because I get the email and it pops up, and it's phenomenal. So I would encourage it. Landon, do you get that on your?
I don't, but I check mine often enough.
You're
in the office,
you're in there every day, so.
Yeah, I can look at making that blanket change for everybody. It does increase mail flow quite a bit, but I mean, we'll be able to handle that. As far as not everybody has access to email outside, so it doesn't really do any good for, nobody checks it in, say, the treasurer's office when you're in those specific spots where it's just extension only mail. Maybe we can still make that change. So it'll roll over.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to just reach out to department heads and say, hey, we're considering this, and if there's any concerns, get back to me.
Okay.
Maybe that'd be the best approach, but 'cause I don't know I just know it was automatic for us.
Right. Yeah, and you might have had access to email at all times and actually checked it. I don't know that, short of the people that work 8 to 4 are going to check it after 4 o'clock, or they wouldn't just see it at the red light on their desk. But I'll reach out to each department.
Okay, I think we have addressed that sufficiently for today. Department update.
But we appreciate you jumping on that and getting that cleaned up.
Not a problem.
That was a nice thing to get done.
Yeah, once we're made aware of an issue, we're usually pretty quick. And that's my fault. I didn't call the number afterwards. Well, I did, but somebody picked up, Tim, because we had already ported the phone number. So I never checked the auto attendant settings. Never even crossed my mind on that one.
One final thing I think there's still a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done, or maybe it happened now. Like the last I knew, we still had like a Tim Neal voice popping up on.
Yeah, occasionally it's like I've set mine up twice and I can't. Like every once in a while it reverts back, and so like I need to go through my voicemail again.
That might be the auto attendant again.
And it's not every time. It's odd.
It's probably hours because we have different hunt groups for different hours. So it's one of those things we'll probably have to look at all the auto attendants assigned to pretty much all these phones up here.
Okay.
So
That would make sense. Why?
Okay. Thank you, Nate.
yeah, not a problem.
Okay, now your department update.
Basically, still moving forward on the website. I've got final sitemap approval scheduled for tomorrow. Once that's done, I'll send out an email with kind of a pilot of what our website will look like and how it'll navigate. And then we'll look for feedback on that. I'm hoping this next meeting will tell me when we're looking at actually migrating all of our data over. But I would imagine it's going to move pretty quickly now that the sitemap is done. Ultimately, we didn't have to make too many changes. I'm crossing my fingers on that. We obviously had to remove mental health and a few other little things, but we'll see what it looks like on Thursday morning. That is the next step, is going to be migrating the live site. We have the landfill connected. I'm actually heading out there shortly after this to set the final new computer. So obviously they've got phones, and I know I've talked with both Adam and Tim, and we'll probably do a credit card. From what I understand, I think that's already in the works. So that we basically just have to have those new computers in place to do that. Along with that, we'll be doing the migration of WasteWorks, which is basically the program we use for doing all the scale, the billing, everything else. Those will be going on the 2 new computers. I'm trying to put those in place at the same time I take the old ones out. The scale and everything else should work. I did some tests on the COM ports out there, and I'm hoping there's no problems with that. MFA is still continuing to roll out. I'd say 95% of it's done. The courthouse is completely done. We're still working some issues on, we have basically generic users. So if we've got a view user where all they do is look at documents, how we're going to approach that. There still will be 2-factor, although there's no access outside the building. So physical security is one of those things I just have to look deeper into policies and procedures when it comes down to that, and kind of predict where our insurance will say, the next step is going to be. So working on budgeting, nothing good there so far. So Microsoft, a lot of things have changed like usual. They go up exponentially almost every year. And that's basically what I have on my list.
Saw a thing this morning on the dark web. Does that affect us in any way, or is that, do we have guards against that from
We do.
happening? And
We do. So the dark web is kind of that big, generic, scary term for going places you shouldn't on the internet. We block a lot of that. Not to say you can't find, if you're intent to find it, you can find
I don't
it.
want you to go too far into detail.
And I won't.
Yeah,
But that
it's
did
a
remind
security
me,
issue, but
we have, I'm working on an AI use policy as well, which I'll get that to Barb and Darius here once I put the finishing touches
just
on
wanted to
it.
make sure we were on top of it.
We are.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else for us?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll double check those auto attendants too.
Thank you.
Landed.
Morning. Rapid fire this morning.
We have our first reading of the ordinance.
Yes.
Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Move to open public hearing for first reading of 2506.
Thank you, Corey.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob, to open the public hearing regarding ordinance 2506. All in favor, please. Roll call.
Hornhorst.
Aye.
Zerwinski.
Aye.
Hildebrand.
Aye. Okay, public hearing. We had anything, any comments?
No comments, no questions, nothing from, in my office.
I received nothing.
I've had nothing. Shelley, is your office? Cassandra,
Nope, not a thing.
for a motion to close the public hearing.
Move that we close public hearing.
Second.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey. Close the public hearing, roll call.
Hornhorst.
Aye.
Zerwinski.
Aye.
Hildebrand.
Aye. Okay, public hearing is closed. Now we have a ordinance in front of us that we can act on the first reading. I believe we will do all 3 readings of this because that's what we've done in the past.
Yeah, and we're in no rush, so might as well.
You're here next week.
Yes.
Move to approve first reading,
Meetings once.
set date for the second
Yeah.
reading for November 11th at 10 a.m. Correct, Senator? 10 a.m. work stuff.
Yes.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob to approve first reading of 2506, an ordinance establishing no parking zones and penalties for those, and set the second reading for a week from today. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, that motion carries.
Plus one.
It's the 12th day.
Oh, 12th, excuse me.
12th. Because we have
Forgot.
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day
Oh, yeah,
next
so
week.
from
Yes.
Tomorrow, not today. Okay, what else do you have for us?
Not a whole lot. We did get some numbers back on insurance after a discussion last week, with some changes. Reducing the graders, they found a few things. Ultimately, our insurance increase, rather than 20,548, our increase will be 8,251. So quite a bit more palatable after we work through that. Any questions on that one?
No, glad you reviewed it and made it more
Yeah.
common sense, so.
Yeah, we still got pretty good coverage, but we're not. going
Taking on a
crazy
little
with it.
more responsibility
Yeah.
on our own. but-
Yep. Other than that, I don't have anything this morning.
Were they able to get the steel done on the new roof, the new shop?
They got it done on the new one. They still had one of the other buildings to do, and I don't know if they're here today or not, but yeah, they got the new one done, so.
I don't have anything. You got the email I forwarded from
Yep.
the gentleman happy with the culvert and the road raisings.
Hopefully that
Okay.
works.
You were part of the conversation relative to the insurance discussion. If you have time and would like to stay, please
sure.
do. Barb, you want to move up to the other chair there and we'll jump into discussing these agreements with itself. Barb and Landon and Cassandra and I did have I was phone, you guys were, I think we're all in the same room maybe? or-
Barb wasn't here for
Okay, Barb was maybe. part of it.
No.
Yeah.
That's the property and
Yeah,
liability.
just
not the-
Landon and Cassandra and I, so. Anyway, Cassandra, you wanna?
We just got, Tony with the Excel group, had him meet with us, Scott LaRue was present as well. Kind of discussed what needs to be covered individually versus what needs to be covered, as a building. And he made some clarifications for us. The sprinkler system, no, we will not add that. Number one, he said insurances typically won't cover that. I can't remember what his reasoning was, but with it being underground and wasn't listed individually with the system we had prior to this one being installed. Discussed that anything outside of the building, so generator, fence, items like that, are considered buildings of their own. As far as fences go, the secondary roads has got the biggest fencing system, and that is covered with their building. It does list fence on it. What Scott was referencing was the fencing that would go around generator. It's just not, in our opinion, doing was at the meeting too, worth insuring that. We'll cover that on our own. Air handler, because we're in possession, because you guys have signed completion, we've paid for it, we are gonna insure that until it's installed. Because part of it is sitting, in Janesville, part of it is in secondary roads, and I believe some of it may be outside.
Yeah, and if it stays there long enough, we'll have air conditioning in the shop, so.
So, so we will get coverage there, and then we went into, so we got, I think, our answers, what we were looking for. Then we kind of talked about at what point is it not a break even where we're over insuring everything. So do we talk about that a little bit?
We talked more specifically about that regarding like road graders and the physical equipment, and talked about on a $300,000 piece of equipment that we've maybe had no claim on in the last 20 years or 15 years, and there was several years where we had no claim. Does it make sense for us to continue to have full coverage insurance, or would it be smarter for us just to drop back to liability insurance? However, as Tony pointed out, and this just drives me nuts, but so if that road grader was parked inside the building and a tornado or a fire took out the building, the road grader then would not be covered either. So that kind of led us to believe that
Unless we take the tires off.
Yeah,
If we take the tires off, it's part of the.
Every day.
contents of the building.
yeah,
Yep, they'd have to bring it in, take tires off.
So I'll be watching claims for a lot of large jack stands.
yeah.
probably not terribly practical, so. And then we talked about some of the outlying equipment, if it makes sense to have full coverage insurance on all of that, or if it would, like we talked about streetlights, for instance. general liability covers us for that. Do we need any insurance on those things? And, because it kind of wanted us to discuss whether or not we should have. And, you know, at some point, you just have to, you know, say enough is enough, and you can't possibly insure everything down to the last penny. So, is there anything else that we've missed?
Then we just discussed, the values that Landon thought was adequate for some of the older pieces of equipment, and I don't know if you asked him to get any other kind of estimate, or if we were just good with that, and
That's what we went with. We looked at other deductibles too, and it wasn't, they didn't give me a quote, but he didn't think it would be a very big change, so, we kept as is on the deductible.
and that deductible changes the deductible for all.
Right.
So it was taking that into consideration, that it's not just on his big pieces of equipment, it's on some of our smaller items too.
Okay, anything else under property casualty?
I think so.
Thank you, Landon. Barb, now you want to talk about health insurance and.
Well, we had a discussion prior
Thanks, Landon.
Thank you.
about having the Excel group put our health insurance out to market, get some comparisons for us. I think you agreed to make this kind of a one-time event for this year. They had given us a quote of $2,000 to have this done. I think you've already had a discussion, and I think you were in agreement, so we have the formal contract here. If you want to follow through and sign.
The question I had regarding that is, they didn't put the amount in the formal contract. Is that problematic at all for us? I don't see it anywhere, is it?
I would just write it in, not to exceed the 2,000.
It's odd.
Page 2, the top.
Page 2.
4, flat fee of $2,000.
Oh, okay, yeah, so. Okay. And then we discussed as a group whether or not we wanted more than this, or if we just wanted them to provide this particular service. I don't think that we're ready to get back into a full-fledged business agreement with anybody. And if we were, we would then probably put out RFPs, I would assume, to do that, so.
You still had some concerns, Barb, though, like over the Aflac, like some of the auxiliary lines. Like this doesn't, I mean, we're just taking care of this now. We're still going to carry forward with the problems that you've encountered with handling some of these smaller lines of insurance. We're not addressing any of that. We're not looking to right now.
Not looking to right now. It's just a portion of the Aflac. We have 5 different Aflac products, and they're kind of split into divisions. It's the accident and critical illness division of it that I have issues with. But the life disability division is workable through their customer service, but it's workable with what I am right now. But I think in discussion with Excel, actually rate-wise, down the road, we may be looking at finding something better than Aflac when it comes to rates.
Benefit in starting an arrangement here, get this process done. Take what we learned from it to see if we want to go further.
I agree with that.
So in their scope of services, they have conduct a market analysis and benchmarking of available coverage options. So they're gonna do that first and tell us, hey, this is maybe a coverage we shouldn't go out for, or a change of how we do it, and then broker out a bid. You know,
We haven't discussed that with them
Okay.
yet. Right now, they don't even know the scope of what our plans look like.
okay,
So we're gonna, probably once all this is signed, we'll meet with them, show them what we have in
Yep.
4 different plans, or 2 different plans with family and single.
other than just a brief discussion, they don't have any details of how our plan is set up. They don't have any of our history.
But to Bob's point, I think that's kind of what we're looking for. We want them to tell us whether or not it's even smart to put it out for any kind of RFP to bid with other companies, or whether or not we should be pleased with the service that we're now receiving, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, and maybe there's certain coverage, hey, you shouldn't do this, you know, other counties aren't doing it or whatever. I mean, when you go out to bid it this way. You'll get a more competitive price, so I was just wondering. But that sounds good that you'll be talking to them, so I appreciate that. Great first step.
Is there a motion to accept and have me sign the consulting?
Move it, we approve the agreement with Excel for providing services obtained quotes for Bremer County health insurance plans.
Second.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Another document we have that Excel provided is a business associate agreement regarding HIPAA and privacy with all the information that we're going to be handing back and forth. Lindley,
I think that's just part of
that part out,
signing the,
okay,
because the only way
Okay.
they can have access to
right.
even discussing it with us is that this is signed. Otherwise, we can't give them.
Otherwise, we can't.
Yeah, they need
no.
the claims history and stuff like that in order
Right.
to do it. And
But
Lindley
Lin-
reviewed it, everything is okay from her perspective.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, I would make sure, yeah, that, you know, Dewey, you should have authorization to sign that.
Okay. Anything else under this line item?
Not at this time.
Cassandra, if you want, you set up a meeting, I'm happy to sit in.
Okay.
I sat in on the first meeting, just let me know when.
Yeah, having one of the board representatives is always a good thing.
Board and committee updates?
I'll go first. Workforce, obviously the government shutdown was discussed and how things are playing out there. They're doing the best they can. So more to come on that. They talked about audits and 990s. So, you know, everything passed their audits and they're, you know, it's always tough for small organizations, you know, delegation of duties. So, but they did a good job. Chamber, you know, they're going good. So, and City Waverly updates, you know, they're working on the bridge. The bridge will be open up in November. The pedestrian route may not be totally open, but they will have that hopefully open by Christmas on Main. Everything else is going well in the Waverly Chamber area. They were appreciative of our trick or treat, and so yeah, we did a great job on trick or treat. We had, you know, present the sheriff's department, our 250th subgroup, CBS, public health, and the veterans. So the veterans handed out a lot of information and also stuff to kids, and Lindley handed out a lot of public health information, and CBS just had a good time. All their clients. Residents were watching, so they had a good time. Corey was there for the 250th in Shelley. And Barb stole the show. She leave already? So yeah, Barb stole the show. So got a lot of pictures with her with being Statue of Liberty. So the chamber was appreciative of that. Lastly, we didn't have a meeting yet, but like I told you before, our juvenile detention, we had a mock or draft 28E agreement, and I gave it to Darius, and you know they have it in there that we would not be able to leave the 28E agreement if there was debt incurred by the organization. So that's a red flag for Darius, a red flag for me. So just I've responded back to the group saying that's a red flag. We'll see what they do.
Had nothing last week.
I just had the insurance conversation with Tony and, one coming up tomorrow morning, so that was it. Anything else?
Just wondered that, back in September, we had a developer wanted to reach out. I wondered if maybe next week we can discuss if the timing is right to bring them back on. We may put that on just for a discussion, potentially schedule that.
You want to put that on for,
Exactly what are we discussing?
It's a developer looking at building incentive options within the county. More just a broad, high-level discussion that they wanted to bring from experience in other counties. And wondered if there's willingness to possibly, I think it ties in as we continue on in the planning and zoning comp land use. It's a timely discussion to have, not focused around one developer, but just what works in other areas or what's been tried and how it works. And that was the way they had framed it to want to discuss. We held off earlier for some other issues, and I think everything's been resolved where we could have that discussion. So I just want board approval to schedule it at some point.
Are you under admin or do you want to?
Just enter admin, that'd be fine. I'll probably ask Darius to sit in on that. He's got some history with it.
Cassandra, like on the line item where we had the funds discussion with ISAC, could we start adding maybe possible action, and, or is that, and then we wouldn't have to have question whether or not we can at least take action if we decide to follow up with taking action immediately instead of having to put it on a secondary agenda item. It used to be years ago, you know, there wasn't any, you didn't have to put that on there at all. We didn't have it on there, action or no action, or, and I think there was some sort of attorney general opinion or an open meetings opinion that you are supposed to have that on there. All the groups did, but certainly makes it better openness for the public, but. Okay, anything else to be discussed?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.